On the 24th of August in the summer of 2021, Arsenal signed Martin Ødegaard from Real Madrid at a fee around £30 million. Ever since then, Martin Ødegaard has become one of the most important players at Arsenal and also one of the most complete midfielders in the Premier League, leading Arsenal to 2 title charges back-to-back against Liverpool and Manchester City. The big question is Martin Ødegaard one of the best midfielders Arsenal has ever seen, and how did he actually become that good? What makes him better than Ozil and Statistical in my opinion? And in the comment box below, let me know what you think about the future of Martin Ødegaard. Is he going to be the biggest Arsenal captain after Patrick Vieira, or is he actually eventually going to crumble and become a mediocre midfielder like many people actually think? Let me know in the comment box below. Now, when we signed Martin Ødegaard, there were a couple of questions and there were a couple of doubters out there because many people wanted to sign James Maddison. He was a complete number 10. He was a more proven number 10 in the Premier League at Leicester City. And it's really understandable why Mikel Arteta was really trying to chase the both of them. Ødegaard is more like a number 10 and number 8 as well, so he can play that kind of hybrid. And of course, James Maddison is a pure number 10. His goal and his role is to create chances, and that is what we wanted as Arsenal fans back then. 2 years later, actually 3 years later, Martin Ødegaard has become one of the most complete midfielders in this Arsenal team, creating chances, pressing very highly, but also dropping deep and building up the play with the likes of Thomas Partey and Declan Rice. So what makes him different, and why do I think he's actually better than Mesut Ozil? Although Mesut Ozil is one of the best midfielders we have ever seen in the game, and also one of the best creative players we have ever seen in the Premier League, and we have also ever seen, in my opinion, at Arsenal Football Club. Let's get this video to 300 likes. Now, the first thing we have to talk about Martin Ødegaard is his aggressive pressing, and this is something that Martin Ødegaard only can do with the elite midfielders. Now, at times you look at him play, he presses really highly, and he never gets tired. And I think that's a key component, it's a key quality of modern footballers and modern midfielders. So you look at Kevin De Bruyne, you look at players like Xavi, you look at players like Iniesta. One of the things that actually kept them at the top was the ability to press 90 minutes without getting tired, and the ability for them to win the ball back, especially high up the pitch. Now, Arsenal is one of those sides that don't concede chances and don't concede goals a lot of the time, but that is not actually purely because we are very good defensively or because of William Saliba and Gabriel Magalhaes's partnership. We actually win the ball back a lot of the time in the enemy's territory, and for us to do that, it is courtesy of players like Martin Ødegaard and players like Kai Havertz as well. So you look at this graphic, it shows you central midfielders and what they are doing in terms of pressures per 90. Martin Ødegaard is up there with 7.86 pressures per 90, and he's up there with one of the best midfielders in the world, that is Kevin De Bruyne. And that speaks very big volumes about what he does as a player and in which company and in which light we should be viewing him. My problem with players like Mesut Ozil and Bruno Fernandes is they are very good creatively and they create a lot of chances. They will facilitate the way the team plays and the way the team attacks as well, but they don't score, they don't press that high. They don't press that much as well. They don't want to get their hands dirty. They don't want to win the ball back just like Martin Ødegaard does. So I think that's the difference that actually sets him apart. Ødegaard, in my opinion, can play in every side, in every system, under every manager, because you look at Pep Guardiola and the work rate he demands. I think Ødegaard can really play there at Bayern Munich and at Thomas Tuchel, at Carlo Ancelotti's side at Real Madrid. I think he's a player that can easily suit in because he's hardworking, he trains hard, and that training and hard work is already shown on the pitch. My problem probably with him is that at times in the future this could actually get up or catch up with him, and maybe Arsenal fans need to be worried about that. Maybe in the future he will get tired, but I also see him turning into an Andrea Pirlo, someone who takes on some a little bit of a reserved role in the future when he doesn't have the legs. But at the moment, that aggressive press is something that he beats Ozil, Bruno Fernandes and the likes of Santi Cazorla with, for me. The next thing on my list with Martin Ødegaard is the leadership and maturity he's already showing at the age of 23 and 24. So the one thing we have seen with players is that as they get older, they become mature, and as they get older, they become better leaders. You can look at the likes of Steven Gerrard, you can look at the likes of John Terry, Frank Lampard, Patrick Vieira, Thierry Henry, and a couple of other players, including Robin van Persie, who for me was one of the best captains at Arsenal, especially leading by example. But with Martin Ødegaard, he's got something very interesting. He's one of the youngest Arsenal captains ever in our history, but also he's one of the most impactful Arsenal captains in the last 20 years. So he has literally led Arsenal to back-to-back title charges against Manchester City and Liverpool, and this season we actually have a bigger chance to win it than we did last campaign. Now I want you to picture this. In the last few years, 10 to 15 years, we have had captains, different captains. Theo Walcott has captained this Arsenal side at some point in time. Cesc Fabregas has captained this side at some point in time as well. Robin van Persie has been our captain at some point in time as well. Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang and a couple of others. But to put that into perspective, Martin Ødegaard, after picking up that Arsenal captain armband, he has led Arsenal to 2 title charges. After 7 years of Arsenal not being in the Champions League, Martin Ødegaard has effectively made sure that Arsenal are in the Champions League, in the quarterfinals, just to mention, and also next season, whether we win anything or not, we will be back in the Champions League because we are already guaranteed a place there. So the leadership that we see from Martin Ødegaard is something that we didn't get to see from players like Mesut Ozil, and I think although he wears the captain's armband, Bruno Fernandes, in my opinion, he really doesn't have that leadership of a player like Martin Ødegaard. The never say die attitude, the ability to stay positive and keep pushing and pushing other players and motivating other players and making things happen when the team is down. That is something that we have seen, a time and again from Martin. A very good example for me is that FC Porto game where he literally took matters in his own hands. He was brilliant. He was absolutely very, very good. And I know he was feeling the pressure in that game, and everyone was feeling the pressure in that game. But Martin Ødegaard decided that in that instance and in that period, he will not feel the pressure. He's going to go on and create the difference for Arsenal, and that is why we are in the quarterfinals as we speak. So for me, the leadership is something that makes him exceptional. We look at players like Kevin De Bruyne, and De Bruyne at times is not the captain. He doesn't even wear the captain's armband, but his ability to lead that Manchester City side, his ability to collectively drive and motivate Manchester City, it is something that many clubs do not have, and we are lucky that we have it in Martin Ødegaard. Otherwise, this Arsenal team is very young and it is short of leaders. Now that we have the likes of Declan Rice, Jorginho, and David Raya, players were a little bit older, it might actually be a little bit easier for us to pick a captain. But back then, when we had selected, Martin Ødegaard, we had an average age of 21, 22, and that team was one of the youngest teams in the Premier League. For him to come out and captain one of the youngest teams in the Premier League to a title charge against Manchester City's Pep Guardiola, that was really, really, really remarkable. The other thing I've seen with him is the maturity at a very early age. He signed for Real Madrid in 2015. He was only 15 at the time, and he got his Norway call-up at 15. Now, that is something remarkable. There are not many players that actually play for their country and sign for Real Madrid from Sturm Graz at the age of 15. Everyone who looked at him there then thought he was going to become an absolute joke of a player. And in my opinion, right now, he is really on the road to become an absolute joke of a player. Don't forget that he's also captaining that Norway side as well. So he is at 24 and he's captaining Arsenal, but he's also captaining the Norwegian side. If you're looking for leadership and if you're looking for elements of a leader, I don't think you find them in Bruno Fernandes or Mesut Ozil. You will find them in Kevin De Bruyne and Martin Ødegaard. So I want to see what happens with Martin Ødegaard's season this campaign. Is he going to lead us to win another trophy in a very, very long time? Because I would definitely want to see that. But one of the things that stand out with Martin Ødegaard, before we get to the assists and the goals, because that is where the interesting debate is, it is his mentality. And for me, with Mesut Ozil, I loved him. I respect him. He is a legend. He had a season where he registered 19 assists for Arsenal. Remarkable. But one thing that we have not seen with this Arsenal side in a very long time, under Arsene Wenger in the last 5, 6, 7 years, we didn't have the never say die mentality. Under Unai Emery, we didn't see the never say die mentality. And players like Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, players like Alexander Lacazette, who were supposed to lead the team then, did not actually give us a reason to believe in this Arsenal team. There is a guy who has done that successfully, and that is Martin Ødegaard. And one of the key components of a very good team, Liverpool, Man City, Manchester United under Sir Alexander Ferguson, is the never say die mentality. It is not over until it is over. It is never over until the last whistle blows. Now, Martin Ødegaard is a very perfect example of this, and we saw this against FC Porto again. In the round of 16 of the Champions League, every Arsenal player is kind of feeling a little bit down, and they think they should just ride on a 0-0 and go into halftime on a 0-0 and probably prepare better in the second half. Martin Ødegaard has other ideas and other thoughts at that point in time. He pulls off one of the best assists in the world we have ever seen in the history of football, and Arsenal are level on aggregate. And that is why we go on to go and, create the difference and go to the quarterfinals. But also imagine this. During the Community Shield this season, Martin Ødegaard took the first penalty. And during the round of 16 against FC Porto, Martin Ødegaard took the first penalty as well. During the round of 16 in the Europa League last season against FC Porto, although we didn't go through, Martin Ødegaard took the first penalty. He is a leader, that is number one, but his mentality as well is top-notch. He sees himself as a very different quality of a player, and he is a very different quality of a player. He never allows anything to get in his way between him and winning. He never allows that. And I think this Arsenal side, slowly but surely, under his leadership, we have seen this Arsenal side becoming much better at never allowing things to go. We don't allow games to go like that. We will try to hunt you down until the final whistle breaks. A very good example, of course, this season is the 2 games we've played against Brentford and the game we won against Manchester United 3-1 in extra time. It is not over until it's over. It's a key quality, and Arsenal have won many games, of course, in this manner. But for me, one of the players that has introduced that mentality, of course, Mikel Arteta plays a big part in this, but Martin Ødegaard, he is an absolute freak of a player. Brentford, we could have dropped maximum points. We could have dropped 4 points out of the 2 legs we played against Brentford, but we have won both of those games in late extra time. So I would love to see Martin Ødegaard win something for Arsenal with this kind of mentality. I would love to see us win a 90-second winner in the UEFA Champions final against FC Borussia Dortmund. But let's talk about the numbers, assists and goals. Where does he compare? Because I have been told that if you don't have the numbers, then you can forget about being top notch. You can forget about being a quality player. So in terms of assists and assisting, I will compare him to Mesut Ozil, and I think that is where he is really getting the advantages. So Mesut Ozil really played for a long time, around Arsenal, and his best season came in 2015-16 when he scored 6 goals and assisted 19 times. But apart from that, the rest of the seasons, Mesut Ozil was barely, not really average, but he used to average 8 to 9 assists per campaign and scoring between 4 to 5 goals per campaign as well. Now, I think for a midfielder, especially in number 10, that is actually very, very good return. But when we look at Martin Ødegaard's numbers right here, this is what he has done so far at Arsenal. This season, 25 games played, 6 goals and 6 assists. Last season, 15 goals and 7 assists. And of course, the season before that, he played 36 games, scoring 7 goals and assisting 4 times as well. So in terms of the numbers, in terms of assisting, I think Ødegaard is going to be up there with the best of the best in terms of creativity. There is one thing that Arsenal have not done, and that thing is signing a good number 9 for Martin Ødegaard to feed. When we get the likes of Victor Gyökeres, Victor Osimhen or Ivan Toney, depending on who Arsenal will buy, Arsenal are going to unlock another key feature of Martin Ødegaard, which is assisting. I think Martin Ødegaard is capable of creating more than 4 chances per 90. He's creating around 4 to 4.5 chances per 90. I think he's capable of doing that, especially as Arsenal get more dominant and we get clearer of what we want to do on the pitch, and also the formations and the relationships between the players, Kai Havertz, Ødegaard, and Declan Rice are becoming stronger and even better. So in terms of assisting, I think Mesut Ozil is obviously the king of assists. I don't want to compare him. I think he is below Cesc Fabregas and he is below Mesut Ozil when it comes to that assisting hierarchy. But where he is actually better, listen to me, it is the number of goals he is scoring, and it's also the number of times he's getting the penalty area and he's getting into goal scoring positions. So again, when we look at the statistics right here, you can see that this season already scored 6 goals, and of course last season he scored 15. Mesut Ozil did not even score 10 goals in one campaign. This guy last season has scored 15 goals. And of course, we are on the road for him to score 10 goals again this campaign. I think it's one of those number 10s stroke number 8s that are going to be consistently scoring 10 plus goals in every single campaign for Arsenal, but also around Europe in the Premier League. So is he a complete midfielder? I think he's a goal-scoring monster, and I think he's the most complete midfielder right now in Europe, apart from Kevin De Bruyne. Every other midfielder out there has a problem. They're either not scoring goals, they're either not assisting, or they're not actually pressing as a monster as Ødegaard is pressing. I would love to see this Ødegaard guy become the first Arsenal captain to win the Premier League after the Invisibles, and the first captain guy to win this Arsenal side the Premier League. If you like this kind of content, do subscribe to the channel. We've done a detailed view about Jurrien Timber and why I think Jurrien Timber is going to be the key to Arsenal's future.